Pastry. The word itself conjures up images of flaky croissants, delicate tarts, and golden pies. It's a world of buttery goodness, of crisp layers that melt in your mouth, leaving behind a symphony of flavors. Pastry is more than just a food, it's an art form, a testament to the creativity and skill of bakers throughout history. From the humblest pie to the most elaborate gâteau, pastry has a way of transforming simple ingredients into something truly special. It's a window into the culinary traditions of cultures around the world. From the flaky phyllo dough of Greece to the delicate mooncakes of China, let's dive into the delicious world of pastry. At its heart, pastry is a deceptively simple creation. It's the alchemy of flour, butter, and water, transformed by heat into something extraordinary. Flour provides structure, butter adds richness and flakiness. As the pastry bakes, butter melts, creating steam that lifts and separates the layers. This results in the characteristic flaky texture that makes pastry irresistible. The story of pastry is as rich and layered as the pastries themselves. Its roots can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where early forms of pastry were more about sustenance than indulgence. From the unleavened breads of ancient Egypt to the hearty pies of medieval Europe, pastry has long been a staple in kitchens around the world. Over centuries, pastry evolved from simple flatbreads to more elaborate creations. The development of new techniques such as laminating dough to create layers, and the introduction of new ingredients like sugar and spices, opened up a world of possibilities for pastry chefs. The Renaissance marked a turning point in the history of pastry. It was during this period that pastry truly blossomed into an art form. Pastry chefs became highly skilled artisans, creating elaborate pastries that were as much a feast for the eyes as they were for the palate. Royal courts were adorned with towering creations of pastry, showcasing the creativity and skill of their creators. From the opulent courts of Europe to the bustling streets of Asia, pastry has left its mark on culinary traditions around the globe. In this journey through time and taste, we'll explore the fascinating history of pastry, uncovering the stories behind its evolution and the cultural influences that have shaped its diverse forms. Our journey into the history of pastry begins in the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt, a civilization renowned for its magnificent pyramids. The ancient Egyptians were masters of bread making, a skill that laid the foundation for the development of pastry. Bread was a cornerstone of the Egyptian diet, consumed by people from all walks of life. From farmers to the wealthy elite, bread fueled the bodies that built the pyramids. The Egyptians' mastery is evident in the variety of breads they produced. They often incorporated ingredients like honey, dates, and nuts to enhance the flavor. Bread was also an integral part of religious ceremonies and offerings to the gods. Section 2. Pastry in the Tombs, Food for the Afterlife. The Egyptians' belief in the afterlife had a profound influence on their culinary practices, including their approach to baking. Just as they furnished their tombs with treasures and provisions for the afterlife, they also included food offerings, believing that the deceased would need sustenance on their journey to the underworld. Among these offerings, archaeologists have discovered remnants of what can be considered early forms of pastry. These weren't the delicate, sugar-laden pastries of today, but rather simple flatbreads and cakes, often made with coarsely ground grains and sweetened with honey or dates. These ancient pastries, while humble in appearance, provide valuable insights into the Egyptians' baking techniques. The discovery of pastry-like goods in tombs suggests that the Egyptians were already experimenting with different doughs and fillings, pushing the boundaries of what could be created with flour, water, and heat. The inclusion of these pastries in tombs also highlights the symbolic importance of food in ancient Egyptian culture. Food was not merely a means of sustenance, it was a powerful symbol of life, prosperity, and the journey into the afterlife. By including pastries among the offerings, the Egyptians sought to provide their loved ones with nourishment and comfort in the next world. Section 3. Beyond Bread, Early Innovations in Egyptian Baking. While bread was the mainstay of the Egyptian diet, the ancient Egyptians didn't limit themselves to simple loaves. Their culinary curiosity led them to experiment with different ingredients and techniques, resulting in a surprising array of baked goods that could be considered precursors to modern pastry. One such example is a type of flatbread that was cooked on a hot stone similar to a griddle. This method of cooking produced a bread that was thin and crispy, resembling a modern-day cracker or flatbread. These flatbreads were often flavored with spices and herbs, adding complexity to their taste. The Egyptians also experimented with different types of sweeteners, long before refined sugar became widely available. Honey, naturally found in the region, was a popular choice, adding sweetness and a touch of floral aroma to their baked goods. Dates, another readily available ingredient, provided a rich, caramel-like sweetness. These early innovations in Egyptian baking, while seemingly simple, demonstrate a willingness to experiment with flavors and textures, pushing the boundaries of what could be achieved with basic ingredients. The Egyptians' ingenuity laid the groundwork for future generations of bakers to build upon, eventually leading to the development of the diverse and delectable pastries we enjoy today. From ancient ovens to Roman tables, the spread of pastry making journeyed across continents carried by traders and conquerors. Egyptians' early pastry techniques spread beyond the Nile River Valley. Trade routes expanded, influencing neighboring cultures. Greeks adopted and adapted Egyptian baking techniques. They created variations like pita, a staple today. The Roman Empire spread pastry making through conquest. Romans refined techniques from conquered cultures. Rome's enduring contribution was the development of the oven. Enclosed ovens allowed for more consistent baking results. Section 2. The sweet influence of the East. Spices and sugar arrive. Ancient civilizations mastered bread making, but their pastries lacked sugar. The arrival of sugarcane from India revolutionized pastry. Sugarcane was a luxury good, traded along the Silk Road. The influx of spices from the East coincided with sugar's arrival. Cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg added new flavors to European kitchens. Sugar and spices transformed pastry into a culinary art form. Section 3. Medieval masterpieces, pastry for the nobility. The Middle Ages, often depicted as a period of darkness and decline, were actually a time of great innovation in the world of pastry. While bread remained a staple for the common folk, pastry became increasingly associated with the nobility, a symbol of wealth and refinement. Medieval pastry chefs were highly skilled artisans, employed by wealthy households and monasteries to create elaborate pies, tarts, and other pastries for special occasions. These skilled bakers were masters of their craft, able to transform simple ingredients into culinary masterpieces. They crafted towering pies filled with meats, cheeses, and spices, their crusts intricately decorated with pastry cutouts and elaborate designs. One of the most iconic pastries of the Middle Ages was the pie. Far from the simple fruit-filled pies of today, medieval pies were often savory affairs, filled with meats like beef, pork, or venison, often combined with fruits, cheeses, and spices. The crust, rather than being eaten, served as a container for the filling, designed to protect it during cooking and transport. Sweet pastries also graced the tables of the wealthy. Tarts filled with almonds, spices, and honey were popular, as were small, bite-sized pastries flavored with rosewater and sugar. These sweet treats were often served at the end of a meal, a delightful way to cleanse the palate and impress guests. Section 4. The birth of flaky layers, the art of laminated dough. Laminated dough is a marvel of pastry making, a technique that involves folding layers of butter between sheets of dough to create a symphony of flaky layers. This process requires an incredible amount of precision and patience, as each fold and roll must be executed with care to ensure the perfect texture. The butter must be kept cold throughout the process, and the dough must be rolled and folded multiple times to create hundreds of delicate layers. When baked, the water in the butter evaporates, creating steam that separates the layers of dough, resulting in the characteristic flaky texture. The beauty of laminated dough lies in its versatility, allowing chefs to craft both sweet and savory dishes that are as visually stunning as they are delicious. The development of laminated dough was a game changer in the world of pastry. It opened up a world of possibilities, allowing pastry chefs to create pastries with an unprecedented lightness and flakiness. Puff pastry, with its countless layers, became a prized ingredient, used to create both sweet and savory dishes that were as beautiful as they were delicious. The rise of French pastry, a legacy of excellence. From croissants to croquembouche, French pastry is renowned for its elegance and artistry. The French Revolution democratized pastry, leading to a surge in popularity and innovation. The art of the pâtissier: precision, passion, and pastry. In France, pastry making is an art form requiring years of rigorous training. Precision and passion are key to creating exceptional pastries. A symphony of textures and flavors, exploring iconic French pastries. The croissant, macaron, and tarte tatin are iconic French pastries with unique histories. Each pastry showcases the skill and creativity of French pâtissiers. Beyond the patisserie, pastry's enduring influence on French cuisine is remarkable. Pastry plays a crucial role in savory dishes like quiche and vol au vent. French pastry continues to captivate with its artistry and deliciousness. Mastering the basics is essential, starting with a simple pastry dough recipe. With basic ingredients and tips, creating delicious pastries at home is easy. Keep everything cold, especially the butter, for flaky layers. The art of rolling and shaping is crucial for pastry perfection. Lightly flour your work surface and rolling pin, and roll from the center outward. Rotate the dough to ensure even rolling and prevent sticking. From oven to table, baking and enjoying your pastry creations. Preheat the oven and consider blind baking the crust to prevent sogginess. Allow the pastry to cool slightly before serving for the best flavor. Troubleshooting tips, conquering common pastry challenges. For sticky dough, lightly dust with flour and chill if necessary. Prevent soggy crusts by blind baking and brushing with egg white. A timeless treat, pastry's enduring appeal. Pastry's appeal is timeless, engaging our senses and elevating any occasion. The art of pastry making continues to evolve, inspiring culinary innovation. The joy of baking, embracing the art of pastry. While the world of professional pastry making may seem daunting, the joy of baking is something that anyone can experience. You don't need to be a trained pâtissier to create delicious pastries in your own kitchen. With a little patience, a dash of creativity, and a willingness to embrace the occasional imperfection, you too can discover the magic of transforming simple ingredients into something truly special. Don't be afraid to experiment. While classic pastry recipes are a great starting point, don't hesitate to put your own spin on things. Try adding different flavors to your dough, like citrus zest, spices, or even a hint of herbs. Get creative with fillings using seasonal fruits, homemade jams, or savory combinations. Remember, pastry making is a journey, not a destination. There will be triumphs and there will be setbacks, but the most important thing is to enjoy the process. Embrace the tactile nature of working with dough, the satisfaction of rolling out a perfect crust, and the anticipation of watching your creations turn golden brown in the oven. So gather your ingredients, dust off your rolling pin, and embark on your own pastry making adventure. You might be surprised at the hidden talents you discover and the delicious rewards that await. Happy baking!